forecast. To my left, we have Garrett. Garrett, how you doing?
I'm doing swell.
And to my right, Alex. Not here tonight. He's on assignment, and he should be back. He'll be gone for a little bit, but he'll be back eventually here. We're talking about this Wednesday Comics forecast. I'll tell you the comics coming out for March 21st, 2018. That is the first full day of spring 2018. There sure looks like it outside.
Do you want to know what?
Yeah.
They were going to have free ice cream at Dairy Queen because of it.
Oh, really? Today? When it was snowing?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what that means. It wasn't even like spring-colored ice cream. It was just ice cream for free.
They just decided, let's get into the spirit. Well, let's get into the spirit of comics and tell you what's coming out for the 21st year. First, from Dark Horse Comics. It's Department H number 24. It's the last issue, the final issue of Department H. Garrett, what do you think? It's been a long way coming. We've gone through the mystery, and so here's the final issue. What do you expect from this?
I expect nothing but great things. You know, we've been getting this for 2-ish years, and I think we've loved almost every single issue of this series. And I think that if it's done right, that this is going to be one of the best books that I think all three of us has read as a group together. And, you know, I think, you know, the art style, the writing style, the mystery of it all, I think it's going to end really great, and I'm excited.
It's been really great so far. It's one of the underrated books of the last couple of years. It's been consistent, and now it's ending. So it'll be a nice, good 24-issue run when it's all collected. So if you want to check that out, Department H from Dark Horse Comics. DC Comics, here we go. Batman, number 43. This is Tom King and Mikhail Hanin. Everyone Loves Ivy, Part 3. This is Part 3 of the Ivy storyline. I really enjoyed 2. 2 I thought was really great. What do you think, Garrett? We're a couple of issues into this arc. Are you still enjoying it?
Yes, I think it was you that told me that a lot of people had gripes with issue 2 of this arc, and I loved it. I thought it was so much fun. I'm really looking forward to part 3. You know, Poison Ivy, the way that Tom King's writing her, I think is really fun, and it's interesting and new. So definitely, I mean, there wasn't a lot of depth, I think, in the last issue, but I think there's enough that was in there to get me excited for this third part.
Yeah, there's some rumblings from the internet, but I would say on the show here, all of us liked it. I'm not sure what everybody else.
Yeah.
I think it was more of the people who were concerned about Batman being so humorous, and then Ivy having, beating the Flashes. There's a lot of things that I don't really find their reasons very realistic.
Valid.
So, yeah, valid.
Yeah.
Batman TMNT number 2, number 5. This is James Tynion IV and Freddie Williams II. Once it's wrapping up, it's getting closer. Is this a 6-issue mini?
Yep, just 6 issues.
What do you think of it so far?
It's been really cool. I mean, it's basically like a Venom. It's just so focused on Venom. Bane's on Venom, Bebop and Rocksteady are on Venom. The Turtles and Batman and Robin are trying to fight them. And it's literally I think of Roid Rage, or just a huge battle is about to take place, because you have giant ass venomized bad guys, then you got your, obviously also buff good guys. And I just think it's going to be a good fighting issue, to be honest, because this has all been leading up. We just got introduced to Bebop and Rocksteady just being venomized, and with 2 issues left to go, I think it's going to keep improving till the very end. And, the art by, I think it's Fruitoffs is I don't know how you say the last name. Or he does Universe, but I think he's doing this too. Freddie Williams
III is...
Freddie Williams III. Yeah, Freddie Williams III's art, is amazing. And I wish that he wasn't just doing minis, that he was doing a current book too. But
is this the book where Bane's really huge?
Yeah, he's ginormous. His head is so small, but his body is huge.
So it sounds like if you want a book full of action with these 2 characters, if basically what it is if you had action figures with these characters and you're playing with them, making them all involved, that big brawling 80s kind of all out there action. Is that what you say? Something like that?
Yeah, right.
All right. Well, here we go. Batwoman number 13. This is Margaret Bennett and Fernando Blanco. The Fall of House of Cain, Part 1. I believe you don't get this anymore, right, Garrett?
Nope, I do not.
This is the start of a new arc, so you're looking to jump on. You can here on issue 13. I'm a little behind, so I'm not sure exactly what's going on here. But so far, I've been enjoying it. I know you guys have dropped off, but if you're looking for Batwoman, there you go. You can jump on this one. Brave and the Bold, Batman and Wonder Woman #2. This is Liam Sharp, art and written by. How was issue 1? I know you got it, Garrett. Did it turn out to be okay? This is a 6-issue mini.
Yep. I had a lot of fun with it. I think it was, I didn't take it too serious. I mean, I do because it's a good story, but going into it, I was excited for it to be a Brave and the Bold comic, a team up comic, and I think what Liam Sharp did in that first issue, I think it was a fun ride, and I definitely look forward to issue 2. And hopefully when this whole mini's done, that they continue on with other little Brave and the Bold minis like this, because it's just fresh and exciting to see that out of the DC line. So.
Yeah, these minis are always good, and Liam Sharp did some good work on Wonder Woman, so he's trying out a thing with Batman and Wonder Woman. It looks great. I mean,
I feel like Liam Sharp's taking some advice from Greg Rucka when it comes to mythology and history, because there's a lot of that kind of jargon in there too.
Is there? Okay.
Yeah.
So you got Liam Sharp, Brave and the Bold, Batwoman, and Wonder Woman #2. Cave Carson has an interstellar eye. This is the relaunch of Cave Carson has a cybernetic eye. Jonathan Riviera, Michael Omen, after a year of multiverse hopping and fighting in the Milk Wars, returning to a normal life of digging and cave diving just wasn't the same for explorer Cave Carson. Sure, he's got a podcast. Hey, he's like us. Family and their cybernetic eye, but reminiscing about times gone by isn't the same as living. Luckily for Cave Carson and his daughter Chloe, it's about to get sucked into an all-new adventure, literally, when they go spelunking in a black hole. But what's caused this black hole to appear? And what's the connection to intergalactic music sensation Star Adams? So if you're looking for a new jumping on point and you enjoyed him in Milk Wars, there you go. Cave Carson has an interstellar eye. Injustice 2 #22. This is Tom Taylor, Mike S. Miller on art. Garrett, how's Injustice 2 been going?
So I did say this book was dipping in quality. I think that was just a little lull, because now it's picking back up. For the last issue I just read was very focused on all the strong female characters of this world, and I think we're going to keep hitting that stride, intermixing in with the main story. And this is a book I don't see ending anytime soon. It's just kind of like a huge epic, and I get excited every time I read a new issue, just because it's just the unknown factor that's so much fun. And I sent something to Marvin and Alex. I don't want to spoil. I'm not going to do this every time I do the forecast, because otherwise it's like, Garrett, what were you going to spoil from Injustice this week? But I think there's something fun and exciting about a DC universe with literally no rules. So.
Injustice 2. So if you're looking to pick that up there, that's between Game 1 and 2, right? Injustice 2?
Right.
Yeah, Justice League #41. This is Christopher Priest and Felipe Barones on art. Justice Lost, Part 3. So I haven't read the last one. I know you just did. You said that it wasn't as great as the one before it. Am I correct?
Say that again.
Justice League.
What about it? Sorry, my speaker buzzed out.
The last issue. How did you enjoy the last issue?
Oh, sorry about that. Yeah. So I was telling Marvin and Al, I really didn't like the last issue. I mean, it was very wordy. You could barely, I thought Pete Wood's art was pushed to the side and was not. It was definitely a huge low in the entire run that I've read so far. 41 looks good. And I'm definitely going to give it a try, because I think Priest is definitely capable. I've already seen him do great work with Justice League. But the last issue has me a little worried, because it was just very wordy, and I don't know what he was trying to pull off in that issue. I mean, there was just so much exposition and chaos, and I just didn't really enjoy that issue.
We'll see.
Did you read it, Marvin?
No, I haven't read it yet. But we're talking about the new issue on the regular show, so tune in on Sunday and see what I did think of it. And where we're going with that. Justice League, by the way, they just announced today that it is getting relaunched with Scott Snyder. So after the Justice No More, it'll get rebooted to #1, which I'm not sure what I think about that. But art art by Jorge Jimenez and Jim Chung, which is very exciting. And then James Tynion IV and Scott Snyder writing. So we'll see what we get with that. The promo art look has been good. A little bit about the promotional text. It's been bothering me. Maybe we'll talk about that on the actual show. But Nightwing, number 41. This is Sam Humphries, Bernard Chang, The Untouchable, Final Judgment. Nightwing has twice failed to stop the judge, and if he falters a third time, Dick Grayson may never recover. The Untouchable reaches its pulse-pounding conclusion as Nightwing corners his nemesis. Will the judge find a way to corrupt the most incorruptible man in Bloodhaven, or will Nightwing find a way to bring hope back to his adopted city and stop the judge's reign of terror? What do you even think about this arc? This is the last issue of this arc with the judge, Garrett. And I believe, if I remember correctly, Sam Humphries is one of his last issues.
Yeah, because this is what issue number?
41.
41?
Yeah.
Okay, because I saw, in future, it might be 42. Yeah, eventually Colin Lansing Colin and Kelly, whoever those two are coming on this book. But I think he only has this issue. I think this might be his last issue, Sam Humphries, because 44, yeah, that's definitely what it is. 41, this is the last issue of him. Then 42 is somebody. 43 is another random. Then 44, Ben Percy starts back up.
Yes, Ben Percy.
Or starts up for his first run.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think I've been really loving this storyline. I think this was like a rebirth within a rebirth of Nightwing, because it just needed it after Tim Seeley was kind of like not doing anything with the character. I think this story was so fresh, and I'm excited to see how it ends, because I know a lot about Nightwing and Dick Grayson, but I never really knew this history of him and the judge, and it's fun, learning new things about a character's mythology and his villains and his rogue gallery. So I think this will definitely be a great conclusion. I really haven't seen anything bad from Sam Humphries since he's joined up with the DC universe. So very, very pumped for this last issue of his.
Sam Humphries announced going to be doing Harley Quinn. I'll just quote Alex, and I think we all agree. I'm sure he'll do a good job, but I don't know if it's for me. I don't think I'll pick it up. So, but yeah. good that book. They at least they're like, hey, he's been doing a good job. Put him on that book. He can do whatever. Maybe appeal more to his humor side, which actually is which is good. Super Sons number 14. This is Peter J. Tomasi and Carlos Barbetti and Art Tilbert. Mother's Day Part 2. Talia al Ghul is back in Damon's life for the better or worse. How's this arc been, Garrett? This book is ending, so how's one of the final issues going?
Well, I did read the first part of it, and that's I really enjoy it because it's taking John's point of view of Damien and really putting a spotlight on it, but in more of a comedial way. I'm not saying it right, comical way. Yeah. Because he doesn't really know what Talia is like, and I think this would be more of a wake up call for John to see what Talia is like, as opposed to Damien already knowing his mom is who she is. Let's be honest, she killed him at one point. So, definitely excited, and it's bittersweet that this series is ending. But I know there's plans for this to dovetail into a potential new series, at least according to. Was it Tomasi said that in a tweet or something?
He said Super Sons is ending, but the story of Jonathan and Damien is not. So I'm not sure what that
right.
is, but
exactly. So I'm hoping whatever spins out of this is going to be something really exciting.
Superman number 43. Speaking of Jonathan, Bizarro Redeath Part 2. This is Peter J. Tomasi, Patrick Gleason, and Patrick Gleason on art. How's one of the final arcs of... I think this is the final arc of these two before it goes over to Bendis?
It definitely has to be, just because April's already almost here.
It'll be the final arc, but they'll have one more issue, which is oversized.
That's special, right.
So, what do you think about this being the last arc? How's it going?
Well, I read part 1 yesterday, and I think it was really enjoyable. But again... I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, this is really going to be your last arc before you're off this book forever, So I think seeing Gleason back on art was very fresh, because it's where's that guy been? And it's been fun seeing everything in reverse with Bizarro. But at the back of my mind, it's also like, is this really needed to be? I mean, maybe it's just this is the arc that they were always going to tell, not knowing that their run was going to end, because it doesn't seem like there's anything they're trying to like wrap up with a bow or anything. So it might be just be an arc they're trying to do for fun, or that's something they had planned to lead to something else. So I'm just going to go for the fun ride of it all. I enjoyed issue 1. I think issue 2 will be good, but I don't know if it's going to be anything that's going to really change like my favorite more so than not.
That's the only thing about this, and I think maybe the final oversized issue is going to deal more with Jonathan and Clark and their relationship. But like you were saying, they've had these shorter arcs, which are kind of just, I'm going to use the word random, but I don't mean random, just about whatever. And I think they were just like, okay, we're just going to tell stories with Jonathan and Clark. So I'm not sure what they need to wrap up. I think more of it's a character kind of emotional thing rather than actually storylines. But it is kind of strange this is the last arc. But then again, I'm not sure how much lead time they had before Bendis is coming. So I am excited for Bendis. He said that I think this book is going to be more about the Daily Planet and Clark him being a journalist, and then Action Comics will be him being Superman. So
that's awesome.
I think we all kind of thought he might go that way because of his past prior work. So it's nice to see that this book will start having not that it's not good that it had these kind of random short arcs that anybody could just pick up and read it, but maybe long-term storytelling and more of a focus. So we'll see how that goes. IDW Publishing. By the way, Swamp Thing Witcher Special #1 second printing is coming out this week also. So if you missed that the first time around, pick that up and then go back and listen to our episode with John Boylan about where we dissect that thing and really get into it. So IDW Publishing, shout out to Alex Pastrello here. TMNT Universe #20 coming out tomorrow. So don't forget to pick that up, Alex. I know you're busy with Venus de Milo coming out, but you got to pick a book to pick up.
Well, he can wait. Those turtles won't be in anyway, so.
Image Comics, this is Descender #28. This is Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen. Old Worlds Part 2. Garrett, I don't miss an issue of Descender. But I'm going to throw the floor over to you to tell me what do you think about this? Right now we're in the origins of the Harvesters. How's it going so far?
I've really loved it. It's cool seeing like a lot of seeds planted for what comes in our current storyline of Descender. So I'm getting to really know there's like some new characters involved, and like obviously there's some places that we've been in the main in the main timeline that look way different than they do in this basically prequel series. So I can't really say much about it because it's only like the second or third part, but I've really enjoyed it. I mean, it's the same creative team. They're planting seeds. I think it's kind of like what Lazarus did with X+66. So they're using this arc to set up the next bout of storytelling in the main continuity. So really enjoy it and looking forward to it.
Let's see here. We have the further adventures of Nick Wilson #3 of 5. Garrett, is this coming out quicker than monthly? Is this every 2 weeks?
It feels like it's coming out quicker, but yeah, I don't know.
Like
it has been a while since issue 2.
Okay, maybe I just been in my head since then. Like it actually, it's a mini, so it should stay pretty fresh. But I feel like I just read the second issue, but I guess we'll see. This is the third issue of the 5-issue series. Nick has just made a big decision about his future while his past creeps up on him at his high school reunion. So on the last one, he decided to finally work for his former nemesis on making a museum on his old superhero. And it looks like this one's about a family reunion. Or not family reunion, high school reunion. I think we all enjoyed this book so far. This is actually... Yeah. I mean, it's very low key. It's not really like a book that has a lot of plot going on, but everything I think inside the book is very. And I'm glad this is a mini. If this was an ongoing, I'm not sure where we would be, but something about it being a mini, I know all this is going to be contained, and I'm going to figure out what's going on. And it just seems like it's a nice little book about superheroes, but not really. More about like what it means to be a former superhero down on your luck. It's pretty good so far.
Yeah, it's been really good. I like what you said that, yeah, I think it being a mini makes it more enjoyable because you're not going to sit here for 2 years wondering, like, was your Lacey really that big?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like if this was an ongoing, this story really could be turning its wheels. You could go on forever, like going over the same kind of themes about like, being him, about his glory days and all this stuff like that. But have it being 5 issues, I know. Okay, so when I have the one issue that's all about that, I'll be like, okay, that's just going to be this one issue. And then they'll probably move past and we'll get some other stuff, which has been. So far it's been, so it's good. Ice Cream Man number 3, this is Maxwell Prince, W. Maxwell Prince, and Martin Marzaro. Good old-fashioned vanilla, in which a washed-up musician finds the sci-fi fantasy world of living lyrics in his basement. Can he write the song that'll save Harmony City? Or has his milkshake already run dry? The second issue of this was pretty messed up. This book is like kind of more messed up than I thought. I know we knew it was going to be like, oh, it's going to be like a horror anthology, but it's more like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's kind of creepy, like it kind of
macabre.
Yeah, it's that second issue, man, is not. There's not one good thing that happens in that issue.
Right.
It really does.
Have you read issue 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is a scary book, and I've always wanted a horror book like this, and I can't believe we're finally getting. Like, it's just cool. I love how like the Ice Cream Man's like in the background, and I get that's the whole premise, and it's just terrifying. Like last issue when he showed up, like I was like, oh shit, you're dead. Like you're screwed.
Yeah.
Like it's just a fun concept, and yeah, I think we're gonna see more messed up shit along the road here because it's a good book.
And that part was great, but even if you take that out, and you get a story about these two people who got into drugs and it ruined their lives. Even that part of it too is like nice and contained and has a whole arc. And then we get Ice Cream Man and we get a little kind of twist on it, so it's good.
Right.
We get a nice vanilla chocolate twist. Killer Be Killed number 17, Eddie Brubaker and Sean Phillips, Betty Brewster in colors. The turning point issue of the series so far, Dylan begins to find his way clear of the demon's curse, but he's trapped in a mental hospital and no one will believe him. Do you read the last issue yet, Garrett?
Yep.
The last issue, man, talk about this book not keeping you in the status quo. It does like to keep you on your toes.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the last couple of issues, man. Have been really great, and I'm really looking forward to it. This is probably the one, and we'll talk about it later. I'll give you the official poll of the week, but this is the one where I'm like, what's going to happen in this book? I don't know, and I'm super excited to find out.
Yeah, there's something about the way that Brubaker and Phillips and Brightweister tell the story. Like you never get the same type of story. It's always something fresh and creative, and then you get that back matter where you just get so much detail about this book, and it's just such a good experience for a comic book.
I normally don't, because there's so many books. I'm like, okay, just get whatever looks good to you. This is the book where I'm like, everybody should be getting this book. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, the only people I can see not enjoying this book if they like their books a little lighter, and usually don't get stuff that's violent or kind of bogged down. Like if they're just getting superhero books and that's all they want fun superhero books. Okay, that's not this, obviously. Everybody else though, like you should be getting this book. It's probably one of the best titles coming out right now, and it has those extras in the back that really kind of add to it. And I think this is going to be something in 10 years. They're going to be like, hey, remember when Kill Be Killed used to come out, that classic, and you should be on that train right now.
Yeah, what's nice is like literally the trades come out at the beginning of each new arc, so you can definitely, or is it the end of each arc?
The end of the arc.
Yeah, the end of the arc, so you can catch up so quickly. Yeah, it's a fun ride, and they are on Hoopla, so I definitely recommend everyone read this book too.
I mean, that's what I mean. Like you could be on board so easily. The issues come out, then a trade, and then it goes on a break, and then we come back. So you're in sync with everybody else. During the issue coming out, obviously you're not in sync, but once we have that break, you're back on, and you can do what you just said. Go to Hoopla, go to your local library, sign up for a card, use their Hoopla service. You can read it for free. You can be on board and caught up with Killer Be Killed. So, Moonshine, Number 8, this is Brian Azzarello, Eduardo Riso, Mystery Train Part 2. Looks like Moonshine is back on a normal schedule, Garrett. How's Moonshine been?
Well, the first issue back confirmed a lot of things that we got left with our cliffhanger about half a year ago. So it's really good. They're adding more like plot points to the story and whatnot, because this is obviously like the second arc or year 2, or they're trying to do more with it than what they were trying to do with just the first storyline. So all I know is I'm definitely staying on board, and the concept about what happened from arc 1 is going to make a huge impact on arc 2. And we barely get to see the ramifications of that in that first issue back. So hopefully the second issue we get a lot more in-depth. Again, I'm trying to stay spoiler-free, but I think it's exciting. And if you like the Prohibition era mixed with werewolves, this is a fun book.
Witchblade number 4 is Caitlin Kittredge and Roberta Ingrata. Life After Part 4. Alex, excuse me, Garrett, how's Witchblade been?
This has been one of my favorite Image books lately. I know it's a reboot of the character, and I don't know anything about Witchblade except for what I've been getting in these issues, and what I've been reading. Like, the art is so great, the storyline it's just like dark and mysterious, and it's just a lot of fun. You have I think she's a lawyer, or she's like a investigative something, solving all these murders, but then her Witchblade curse is coming into fruition too. So, I mean, it's just fun to read. I look forward to it every time it comes out, and I can't believe I'm already at issue 4. Like, that's nuts for me, and makes me want to go back and read previous volumes of Witchblade and see why this character in this series is so beloved by so many fans.
Speaking of a book that kind of relaunched and has an old history, Young Blood, number 10. This is Chad Bowers and Jim Toe. This team isn't big enough for the both of us, the arc's called. How's Young Blood been? I know you and Alex have been enjoying it. Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's just kind of the same thing with Witchblade. I mean, they're rebooting their like big franchises that Image Comics started out with. I mean, this is the 25th anniversary. I guess it's 26 now, but it's so fresh to see this new Youngblood team, people that I get to know, and then have them interact with the legacy characters. And it's a fresh take on them because, just like me meeting these new heroes in this book, they don't know the old heroes of the Youngblood team. So that's what puts me as a new reader at an advantage, is I don't need to know so much about the old Youngblood team, but it gets me excited to go back and read those previous volumes in history. And, I told these guys like 2 months back, I found an issue 1, like the very first issue Youngblood. I was like, I got to get this because like I'm reading Youngblood now. Like I want to get this series because it's so cool. So I believe very excited about that book.
I believe also, if I remember correctly, that Netflix just bought the rights to Rob Liefeld's kind of Extreme Universe. So I think this was included. So you might see more of this on the, I guess you call it silver screen, but
cool.
That is Image Comics. Marvel Comics, here we go. Doctor Strange Damnation number 3 of 4. Is that correct?
Oh, yeah, I think it's because Doctor Strange came out last week. I think they're going every other week.
Oh, I know, but it's issue 3 or 4. I didn't realize it was 4 issue mini. Donny Cates, Nick Spencer, Simone Krasinski, Rob Rice on the cover. Wong's Makeshift Midnight Suns. It's Iron Fist, Blade, Moon Knight, the Scarlet Spider stands against the whole platoon of Ghost Riders. This has been a fun little thing. I mean, if any of those characters that's named off or Doctor Strange interest you, I would be picking this up. What do you think, Garrett?
I haven't read issue 2 yet, so I kind of read everything out of order, and I know I need to read it. It's coming up soon in my next stack of books, but issue 1 and the Doctor Strange sequel, basically, to the first issue, I really enjoyed, so I bet Damnation 2 is good. And I'm excited for Damnation 3. I think there's enough creative juice and power in this story that it's one of those events that's actually fun to read. And actually seeing that it's only 4 issues kind of makes me pumped, being like, okay, this thing's going to be done and contained, and it's been fun so far. I don't have to worry about it getting dragged out. 4 issue. There we go. Looks good. I'm more excited for this thing now. Right.
Here we go. Mighty Thor, number 705. This is the final issue of the Death of Mighty Thor.
I thought it was. It actually isn't. 706 is.
Oh, it is? Okay.
There's 706 is like the epilogue issue, I guess, though, technically. But it says it's the conclusion of the arc.
The Death of Mighty Thor Part 6, the epic showdown, years in the making. And when we say years, not just a couple.
Yeah, literally years.
Like 5 years. In the making, finally explode across the heavens. Thor battles the unstoppable Mangog and the fate of all Asgardia hanging in the balance. Is Thor willing to pay the ultimate price in order to save the gods? The tragic and heroic story of Jane Foster finally reaches its heart-rending zenith. You knew it was coming. The death of Thor is here at last. So it does sound like this is going to be actually the climax of the story. To your point, in the next one will be a little ramped down about the epilogue of what's going on. I am, for as long as this story went, and talking about dragged out, sometimes it was great, sometimes it was slow, sometimes it had issues where I didn't know how it fit in and if it was necessary. I am actually really looking forward to seeing the end of this thing the way it's been recently. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, there's been so much amped up to the storyline and so many plot points, and I think it's so great that, for readers that have stuck with it, and believe me, I've almost dropped off a couple of times. It is rewarding to finally get to the finish line and see what Jason Aaron's plan was for this character this entire time. So I think this is going to be an emotional issue, just like the last one was. I think we're going to get some great story leading into the final issue of this arc. Yeah, that cover itself just gets me excited, where she's just like in flames, looks so cool.
Jason Aaron, so we know he's writing Mighty Thor after this is done with a new relaunch. So I don't think you don't have to worry about it trying to wrap up in the next couple of issues. I think it'll end Jane's story naturally, and there'll be some threads that he'll pick up on in his next run. However, if you haven't been on this for however long and you're looking for a place to jump on, when it relaunches, jump on, see what you like. If you like Jason Aaron's Thor, if you do, go back and read it. I think there's some nice arcs in there, especially God of Thunder, and then the first arc of Thor. And maybe the pacing will be better for you because it's coming out, quicker than we got. But I think, and obviously Marvel's satisfied with this. They put Jason Aaron on Avengers. I think you got a nice, good chunk of Thor books if you want to go back in and catch up after it's done. So even for people who just see this for the first time and think they want to catch up, jump on the relaunch and then go back and figure out what you like. Thanos number 17. This is Donny Cates, Jeff Shaw. Thanos wins. Part 5. The Surfer strikes. Thanos and his future self take on the most powerful opposition in his reign. To his reign left in the universe nor red. Can the two Thanos crack his cosmic shield? Parental advisory is this has parental advisory on it. Well, it makes sense. Even that last issue, we got a little him ripping Iron Man in two. Garrett, you were late to this game, but I think you're on board. Thanos from Donny Cates and Jeff Shaw. How great is this?
It's so great. It's unlike anything you've ever read before. I mean, there's all these apocalypse stories like Old Man Logan, Old Man Hawkeye, whatever. But Thanos and the Thanos Wins arc is literally probably the best out of all of them for what it accomplishes in the story and the mystery and the fun. I couldn't have asked for anything better than what I'm getting in this storyline right now.
If you are interested in Thanos because of the new Avengers Infinity War coming up, I would say this arc is pretty self-contained. It takes place in the future, so you really don't have to know anything going on now. So from issue 13, is that correct?
Yep, 13 to where we are now.
13 to where we are now. It's going to be one of the greatest runs of Thanos. And Donny Cates and Jeff Shaw, what a great team. I'm looking forward to this. Along with Kill or Be Killed. We'll see which one wins out here in a second, but it's going to be great. Are you getting this Weapon H, Garrett?
No, okay. I'm not.
Go-Go, that's Marvel Comics. Go-Go Power Rangers number 8. This is Ryan Peratt and Miguel Mercado. With Rita's plan throwing chaos into the life of Power Rangers, Billy faces a harrowing choice. Dan Moore on that cover. The cover looks pretty good. I like that. This is the Shattered Grid Prelude. Garrett, what do you think Go-Go Power Rangers?
So it's so great. I mean, I'm getting excited because the Shattered Grid storyline coming up is going to be a crossover between this and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and I can see why Dan Moore is not on this issue because he's probably working on that entire crossover, at least the Go-Go Power Ranger parts. And let me tell you, like the amount of nostalgia, fun, comedy, action, it's so great. And what I like about this series in particular is what me and Alex said. It's more focused on the actual characters, like, and who they are, as opposed to just them being a Power Ranger. It's more about who they are as individuals. And yes, they still morph into Power Rangers and things like that, but it's probably the more humanitarian side of these characters than you're used to seeing. So, literally, go Power Rangers. That's all I got to say, because that's how fucking great it is.
Those are the comics for March 21st, 2018. The weatherman's not here today, so he did leave me some notes. It does say right here, sometimes a weatherman's job is not to forecast the weather. It's to guess and hope nobody notices. So he says here tomorrow he hopes. It says here he thinks it's going to be 89 and sunny. I doubt that's going to happen, but I think the forecast, comic-wise, this week you have a partly sunny sky. A lot of good stuff out there. It's not really the biggest week of weeks, but I say there's a good chunk. So if you if any of those books interest you, go out to your local comic shop and pick them up. Garrett, now when they're on the way there, they have to take these roads, and how's the roads looking?
You know, I have to agree with you on like the amount of books going in. I think it's a lot of like A's to B kind of comic books. So, you know, I think it's another one of those days that you need to get there a little earlier. You can't wait too long, because those books will fly off the shelf. So I think, you know, the roads, you gotta find the safest, shortest path to the shop. Get your books, find that same shortest path back so you can start reading those books.
Of those books, which one do you think it's going to be a sure hit fire?
Oh, that's tough. I got to give it to Go-Go Power Rangers. I know that's the last one we talked about, but if I gave a second, which I don't want to screw you over, so I'll say Thanos, because I feel like you're the other one you're going to go for, but I don't know. But we can agree on that. But
Thanos,
Go-Go Power Rangers #1, but Thanos I'm really looking forward to for my second choice.
I think me and you will say Thanos because that's what Alex would pick, I'm pretty sure. So Thanos for Alex, and then Kill or Be Killed. Like I was saying before, one of the best series coming out now, and I think if you really want to be on board, it's probably one of the easiest titles to jump on. So,
wait, I got to change my mind. I forgot about it. Department H #24.
Oh yeah.
That's the #1, 100%. That was way at the beginning of the show. That one that's what I'm looking forward to.
We will be talking. I think that's one book because we've been doing this show for it's going to be 2 years here coming up. I think that's one book we've talked about every issue on the show. Not every issue, but at least most of them, so you can see the growth and how I think along the way we've really enjoyed it to see where it's gone, and now you're seeing the conclusion. We will talk about the conclusion on this week's show, so go ahead and tune in for that. Once again, Alex is not going to be here this week, so good luck to Alex and his wife about welcoming somebody to the world. Might be that Thor? The death of mighty Thor so that a new baby can come into the world. That's what I'm going to say. A death of a god so that Alex's baby can come here.
Wow. That's a lot of pressure.
It is, but if we know anything, right, Garrett, this Alex guy, he'll take it on.
Yeah, he'll be able to handle it.
For Wednesday Comics, I've been Marvin.
I've been Garrett.
Hey, how does he end this show? Oh.
Everyone. Yeah, see, this is the part I always get when I'm doing the gauntlet. I know what to say, how to end it. Everyone, keep
I think he says
reading comics. I can't do this.
I think he says, everybody, keep getting those books.